The summer of 1862 was brutally hot on the Whitmore plantation in Mississippi. The sun burned down without mercy, and the air was thick and heavy. Endless rows of cotton covered the land, and the only sound was metal tools striking the dry ground as enslaved people worked from sunrise. Among them was a 12-year-old boy named Samuel. Though everyone else just called him Boy, he had learned to stay quiet and unnoticed to survive. He moved fast, dragging a heavy sack of cotton behind him, trying to stay ahead of the overseer's anger. "Move faster, boy," shouted Jeremiah Colt, the head overseer. He sat on his horse, gripping a whip in his hand. "The war won't wait on your laziness." Samuel didn't answer. He kept his eyes down. The Civil War had reached Mississippi, and word of freedom was starting to spread, but it still felt like a faraway dream. For children like Samuel, chains and pain were all they knew. Around him, others worked in silence. There was Moses, his back covered in scars from years of beatings. Sarah had lost all her children to slave auctions. Big Tom, though huge and strong, looked like he had already given up inside. "That boy's different," Sarah whispered, glancing at Samuel. "He's got something special." Moses looked around nervously. "Quiet, Sarah. Don't start that talk. Just stubborn, that's all." But Samuel had heard things like this before. People noticed how he never seemed to tire, how injuries on him healed fast, and how no matter what, he didn't break. The sun kept rising and the heat got worse. People dropped from exhaustion, but Samuel kept going. Something deep inside pushed him forward. In the distance, the plantation house stood tall. Sometimes, Samuel saw the cruel master, Richard Whitmore, watching from the window. His wife had died last winter. Some said it was from shame, others blamed the fever. Then Mama Ruth appeared. She was the oldest person in the quarters and spoke like she could see the future. "Storm's coming," she said to Samuel. "I feel it in my bones." He looked up. "But the sky's clear." She gently touched his shoulder. "Not that kind of storm." She reminded him of the stories she'd told about his grandfather, a man brought from Africa in chains who had never given up. She said he had a gift, the ability to survive what no one else could. "But gifts like that come with a cost," she warned. Before he could ask more, Colt's whip cracked through the air again. As the sun set, the workday ended. The workers dragged themselves back to the quarters, but Colt called out, "Boy, stay behind." Samuel froze. That was never a good sign. The others looked back at him with fear in their eyes. He now stood alone in the empty field. The stars came out, and far away, the sound of cannon fire rolled in. The war was close, and something big was coming. That night, the slave quarters were filled with quiet whispers. Samuel sat on the floor of the tiny cabin he shared with 12 others. His stomach hurt from hunger, but he had gotten used to it. He tried to ignore the conversation around him. Jake, a field worker with an injured arm, muttered, "That boy's in trouble." Colt was watching him real close today. "Hush," Mama Ruth snapped. "He's done nothing wrong." "Doesn't matter," Jake said. "When Colt gets that look, someone pays." Samuel remembered what Colt had said earlier, circling him like a hunter. "You think you're special, huh? We'll see about that." He knew from experience, being noticed could be deadly. Suddenly, loud voices outside broke the quiet. Overseers were coming. "Where is he?" Colt's angry voice shouted. He kicked the cabin door open with 2 others beside him. "There you are, you little thief," he snarled. "Master's gold watch is missing, and someone saw you near the house." Samuel stood up, shaking. "I've been in the field all day. You saw me." "Don't lie, boy," Colt shouted. "The master's watch is gone, and you're the one to blame." Mama Ruth stepped forward. "He's been working all day. Ask anyone." Colt glared at her. "You calling me a liar? Maybe you're all in on it." Everyone in the room went silent with fear. Samuel stepped forward. "If it's missing, I'll help find it. But I didn't take anything." Colt's expression darkened. "You'll stake your life on that? Take him to the post. We'll beat the truth out of him." Rough hands grabbed Samuel. "Leave him alone." Mama Ruth shouted, but no one listened. He was dragged outside. The whipping post stood like a warning in the center of the quarters. It had seen many suffer before. Samuel was tied to it. "Strip him," Colt ordered. The boy's shirt was torn away. Colt stepped forward. "One last chance. Where's the watch?" "I don't know," Samuel said. "Wrong answer." The first strike landed, cutting into his back. He bit his lip hard. More lashes followed. Blood flowed, and pain exploded in his body. But inside, something strong awakened. He didn't cry out. "This one's tougher than he looks," one overseer said. "Let's see how tough," Colt muttered. He pulled out a vial, liquid that burned like fire when poured on wounds. As it hit Samuel's back, he screamed in agony. But he didn't give in. Even through the unbearable pain, he held on. Somewhere deep inside, he knew he would survive this. Just like his grandfather had. Dawn came. Samuel lay still, tied to the post. Colt stood nearby, angry and sweating. Dr. Morse, the plantation doctor, examined the boy. "He's dying. These injuries are too severe. He needs help right now." "Good," Colt said coldly. "One less mouth to feed." The doctor looked disgusted. "You've gone too far. When the master finds out." "I had permission," Colt lied. "And the boy confessed." The doctor didn't believe him but said nothing. Then the master himself arrived, Richard Whitmore. "What's going on?" he asked. "Caught the thief." "He confessed," Colt replied. "And where's the watch?" Whitmore asked. "Still looking," Colt mumbled. Dr. Morse reported Samuel was near death. "Unfortunate," the master said. "But justice must be served." None of them noticed Samuel's fingers twitch. Back in the quarters, Mama Ruth watched. Tears ran down her face. "Hold on, child," she whispered. "Your grandfather's strength is in you." The sun rose higher. Flies gathered. 2 guards stood watch to make sure no one got close. Yet Samuel kept breathing. His pulse was still there. His body, against all odds, was fighting to stay alive. By afternoon, word spread. Everyone on the plantation knew. The boy should be dead, but he wasn't. Dr. Morse came back twice. He couldn't stay away. Samuel's wounds had stopped bleeding. Some were even starting to heal. "This doesn't make sense," the doctor whispered. "No one survives this." But Samuel was surviving. People started to whisper. Some said it was a miracle. Others believed it was something ancient and powerful, older than the pain they lived through. Colt grew more nervous. He wanted Samuel to be a warning. Instead, the boy had become something else, a symbol of hope. Colt decided it wasn't enough. The boy had to die. 3 days passed. Samuel still lived. Dr. Morse checked his pulse again and again. It was strong. The wounds had begun to close. The doctor had never seen anything like it. "You're not supposed to be alive," he said. Samuel looked like he was just sleeping. From the quarters, the whispers turned to wonder. The boy who couldn't be broken. The miracle child. Mama Ruth returned with a bowl of water. The guards let her dab Samuel's lips. "Still fighting," she said softly. "Your grandfather would be proud." Samuel opened his eyes. "Mama Ruth," he whispered, barely audible. "Hush now," she said. "Save your strength." "The watch," he muttered. "Colt hid it. I saw him take it." Her heart skipped. Colt had framed him. "You sure?" she asked. He nodded weakly. She rose, mind spinning. The truth might save him, or get her killed. Dr. Morse returned with a younger doctor, James Hartwell. After examining Samuel's healing wounds, Hartwell said in disbelief, "This defies science." Colt, watching from the porch, felt panic rising. Samuel wasn't dying. He was becoming a symbol, one he couldn't control. The 4th day arrived and Colt made a choice. If the beatings didn't kill the boy, he'd do it himself. He reached for his pistol, just as angry voices echoed from the big house. Whitmore stormed across the yard. Sheriff Brennan followed, holding a gold pocket watch, Whitmore's. "Found it," the sheriff said. Exactly where she said, under the floorboards in Colt's room. Whitmore's expression turned cold. "You beat a child to cover your own theft." Colt stammered. "That boy isn't normal. No one survives what he did. He's unnatural." Morse stepped forward. The only monster here is you. The sheriff moved in. Jeremiah Colt, you're under arrest. Colt pointed at Samuel, shaking. He's still alive. For days. No food. No water. The crowd fell quiet. Even those who hated Colt knew he wasn't wrong about one thing. Samuel's survival was extraordinary. Hartwell addressed the sheriff. His recovery is unheard of. He should have died. Explain, Whitmore said. There are rare cases of enhanced healing, Hartwell replied. But nothing like this. His body is adapting. Mama Ruth stepped forward. His grandfather was brought from Africa. They said he had something in his blood, something that couldn't be broken. That strength lives in Samuel. Superstition, Morse muttered. Maybe, she said. But we've all seen it. Sheriff Brennan cleared his throat. Innocent or not, he needs care. He's mine, Whitmore said. Keep him guarded. Morse protested. Whitmore paused. Then finally said, Fine. Take him to the medical quarters. But don't let him out of sight. Samuel was untied. His eyes briefly met Whitmore's. No words. Just something unspoken and powerful. That night, whispers spread across the plantation. Samuel's story was becoming legend. Inside the medical room, Samuel lay on a real bed. His body was healing, but now people wanted to own what made him different. 2 weeks later, the room looked like a laboratory. Morse and Hartwell recorded everything. Samuel's skin was healing fast, with little scarring. His muscles looked stronger. His eyes stayed sharp. Then more carriages arrived. Brennan returned, along with unfamiliar, important-looking men. One of them was Dr. Aldrich Petton, a top Southern physician. With him were a younger doctor and a man who looked military, even in civilian clothes. Petton asked Whitmore, "Is it true?" Whitmore nodded. He survived injuries that should have killed him. Inside, Petton examined Samuel. His muscles, blood flow, healing, well beyond human limits. The soldier asked, "Can it be replicated?" "Controlled." Samuel's stomach twisted. They didn't want to help him. They wanted to use him. Whitmore smiled. "Let's talk terms." Petton nodded. "We'll pay generously. Richmond has the resources to study him properly." Samuel lay still, but his mind was racing. He wasn't being sold to work. He was being sold to be tested. Morse stepped in. "He's a child, not a specimen." "He's property," the soldier replied. "And we're in a war. If his abilities help us win, we must act." Petton added, "If we can create soldiers who survive anything, it could change everything." As they debated, Samuel felt the same energy rise within him, the one that had kept him alive. But now, it wasn't about surviving. It was about escaping. That night, Samuel made his decision. 3 days later, the deal was sealed. By morning, he'd be taken to Richmond. But he wasn't going. That night, the guard dozed off. Samuel quietly slid from his bed, lifted the keys, and freed himself. Outside, the moon lit the fields. He knew every corner of this place. But he had only hours before they noticed. First, he visited Mama Ruth. She waited with a bundle. "Time to go, child," she said, handing it over. Inside were dried food, herbs, and a small wooden carving, his grandfather's. "He made this during the crossing," she said. "Said it would protect his bloodline. You'll need it." He held the carving tight. "Thank you, Mama Ruth." "Don't thank me yet," she said. "Just run. And remember, his strength is in you." Next, Samuel went to the overseer's office. Pike, the new overseer, was drunk. Samuel broke into the weapons cabinet and grabbed a pistol, knife, and rope. A map lay on the desk. He studied it, tracing a path north, toward Union land. Suddenly, a voice outside, Whitmore's. "Pike, the boy is gone." Samuel panicked. There was no back exit, no hiding place. But then time slowed. His senses sharpened. He could hear footsteps. Smell Whitmore's cigar. Predict the door swing. As Whitmore entered, Samuel slipped behind him and out the door. By the time Whitmore turned around, the boy was gone. "Sound the alarm," Whitmore yelled. "He's heading for the woods." Bells rang. Torches lit. Dogs barked. But Samuel had a head start. He ran through the fields at impossible speed. Behind him, riders mounted, hounds unleashed. The plantation ended at a swamp, dangerous, deadly, and his only hope. He dove in. The dogs stopped at the water's edge, confused. Horses couldn't follow. "He's in the swamp," someone yelled. "Let him rot in there," Whitmore growled. "Post guards at every exit. He'll come out." But Samuel wouldn't. Deep into the marsh he went, through mud, snakes, quicksand. His body adapted. Snake bites barely broke his skin. Traps couldn't hold him. When exhaustion came, the fire inside pushed him onward. By morning, he crawled out of the swamp's northern edge, muddy, torn, but alive. Ahead, the faint sound of cannons, Union lines. He was closer to freedom than ever. Samuel had escaped. He carried the strength of his ancestors and the will to be free, not just for himself, but for others. His journey was just beginning. But the legend of the boy who couldn't be broken had already begun.